dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good evening. I'm Madison Carmouche. Thanks for joining us this evening. Today marks the last day of the 93rd Annual Kentucky Mountain Laurel Festival. WYMT's Jack Demler joins us from the Pineville Mountain State Resort Park for the special ceremonies that cap off yet another year from the longest active festival in the Commonwealth history. Jack?
Thanks, Madison. The last day of the Kentucky Mountain Laurel Festival means two things: the Governor's Luncheon and the Queen's Corporation. I was here for the crowning of the new Queen and had the opportunity to meet her and speak with her about how important being crowned the new Queen is to her. A queen is crowned.
It's like you got no words, and then at the same time you have so many things to say.
Whitney Taylor Caldwell was crowned as Queen of the 93rd Kentucky Mountain Laurel Festival.
It's like I never left and went to college. They just all welcomed me back, and it was like, hey, how are you? Like, love you, like, so much.
A representative of the University of the Cumberlands, Caldwell adds her name to a long list of women who serve as a representation of the longest active festival in the Commonwealth and the character of Kentucky.
The women I've met that have been queens are people that I can look up to, and I hope that I can continue that tradition to be someone that young girls that I've met or already know that they can look up to me and just be a good role model for those sort of people as well.
Correction, that was her coronation. Caldwell says she hopes to represent how much this town means to her, emphasizing how much she respects the people and loves the people of Pineville. In Pineville, Jack Demler, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Jack, you've been there since this afternoon when they had the Governor's Luncheon, isn't that right?
Absolutely, Madison. Unfortunately, Governor Andy Beshear was not able to make it. However, they did have somebody in his place, the Secretary of Kentucky Tourism, Arts and Heritage Cabinet, Lindy Caspier. I will have more on his perspective and more from the Queen herself tonight at 11. For now, sending it back to you in the studio from Pineville. Jack Demler, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, thank you, Jack. The festival was the second longest running festival until the governor announced last year the festival was in fact longer running than the Kentucky Derby Festival. Officials in Campbell County, Tennessee responded to a train derailment this morning. The derailment happened near West Central Avenue and Church Street and left multiple cars off the track. The Lafayette Fire Chief Jimmy Pack said officials with CSX were on the scene around 11 a.m. No injuries or hazardous materials were reported in the incident.
So we had a little bit of rain across the area this morning that quickly exited, and we are left with mainly sunny skies out there, but that changes as we go into tomorrow. Here's a look at what you need to know as we go into the next several days. We have that first alert weather day out, and the reason being is because strong to severe storms will be the rule across eastern Kentucky. This will be in the afternoon and evening hours of your Sunday. All severe hazards will be possible, so please make sure you have the free WYMT First Alert Weather app on your device to receive the latest information for tomorrow. Temperatures right now in the 70s and 80s. We're at 81 in Ashland, 79 in Hazard, 76 Manchester. Irvin checking in with 80, 81 in Somerset, 80 in Monticello. All is clear on live First Alert Pinpoint Doppler radar, but this changes as we go into your Sunday. We'll start the day off with a mixture of sun and clouds, and then the precip chances will pick up. Your day planner for the overnight hours keeps a scattered shower and thunderstorm in the forecast for tonight. By the overnight hours, we'll see temperatures in the 60s, and then by 7 a.m., we'll see that temperature of 61 degrees with mainly sunny skies. I'll have your First Alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Madison, over to you.
All right, Eric, thank you. Summer weather is here, and members of Eastern Kentucky communities are already getting out and enjoying the warm temperatures. Prestonsburg Tourism hosted the 8th annual Lavisa Fork Paddle Fest, a time when tourists and others can get out and enjoy the weather while also trying a new outdoor activity. But organizers of the event don't want people to forget this is an opportunity to see the beauty in Painesville.
Well, it's outdoors. It's outdoor activity. It's tourism. It's adventure tourism. But tourism is not the driving force here. The biggest reason for us, Prestonsburg, Paintsville, Pikeville, developing trails and water trails is for the residents. It's for the community. It's for the people that live here. And we love having tourists come in and enjoy the area as well.
Officials with Prestonsburg Tourism plan to host annual Paddle Fest events on the last Saturday of each month. While some people might take to the lake or host a barbecue for Memorial Day weekend, groups met in Pulaski County to remember the true meaning and history for the holiday. WYMT's RJ Johnson has more.
On Saturday, several organizations gathered on Burnside Island to ride on the New Scouts Trail, which goes through several counties around Lake Cumberland. Jay Fryman with Backroads of Appalachia says the ride honors several parts of Kentucky history.
And it really showcases not just our Boy Scout and Civil War history, but also the incredible beauty that is the Lake Cumberland region. And we're really happy to finally be over here with our partners and be able to honor our Boy Scout history, honor a lot of our history here in Kentucky.
He says they wanted to do the ride before Memorial Day to remind people the importance of the holiday.
It's not just about hot dogs and fireworks. It's actually a very important weekend for us veterans, and it should be for all Americans, including all of our local people, so we can get out. You see the VFW, the American Legion, a lot of them putting flags on the graves.
However, there are several graves they are working to decorate.
And those graves deserve to be decorated. So we created Scouts Honor Trail in our mobile application to be able to pay honor and tribute to not only the very first Boy Scout troop here in Burnside, which is part of our Kentucky history here, especially here in Appalachia.
Fryman says their goal is for everyone who comes to the area to be aware of the history made in the region.
We try to go there, honor those men and women who fought right here in Kentucky, right on this ground that we're going to today.
In Pulaski County, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Fryman says the proceeds raised are going to support the Wreaths Across America partnership with the Kentucky Motorcycle Association. Memorial Day events will be happening all over the Commonwealth this holiday weekend, and Nicholasville is no different. More than 250 people went out to Camp Nelson today, placing flags on the 17,000 veteran graves within the cemetery. Dozens of kids were there at the cemetery's flag-in day, and Georgetown Mavericks baseball coach Derek Ricketts says this is intentional.
You know, we play baseball because it's fun and they're athletic and they love it, but at the end of the day, you know, we're trying to make good young men that are willing to understand what it means to sacrifice, whether it is in their life or if we can have the examples of these veterans that do it for our country. I think it's a great thing.
Camp Nelson will also be hosting a Memorial Day ceremony on Monday, honoring those military members who died serving our country. That takes place at 11 a.m. and all are welcome. Ahead of Memorial Day, some groups came together in Louisville to make sure all veterans are remembered. Around 700 African-American men and women who served in our country's armed forces are being buried in Greenwood Cemetery. Today, the National Association for Black Veterans, along with the Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War, held a ceremony for them.
It's showing the younger kids especially that the veterans that served in the United States, especially the black veterans, they had to endure a lot of racism and other problems, but they led the way for today to give us the future in the United States.
The groups had a rifle salute and played taps for the veterans buried there. A colorful display is marking the Memorial Day weekend on the National Mall. The USAA's Poppy Wall of Honor is designed to remind people of the sacrifice of the fallen service members. More than 600,000 poppies fill one side of a 133-foot-long wall at the base of the Lincoln Memorial. Each flower represents a service member who was killed in the line of duty since World War I. There's also a special panel marking the 80th anniversary of D-Day and the Americans who lost their lives during the Allied invasions of Normandy during World War II. The wall will be up through Sunday. Coming up, we'll take a look at what kind of roadblocks you may face if you plan to hit the road or the sky this holiday weekend.
And we have a First Alert weather day for tomorrow. We'll talk about that coming up in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Stay with us.